Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Off the Cuff, presented by Rocked On Detroit Lions and Rocked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Andy B. Tonight. My esteemed colleague and partner in crime, Will Rock, is on vacation, so I'm covering for him. And first things first, I want to give Will Rock a big happy birthday shout out. His birthday was yesterday, so if you guys get on the Facebook pages or any of our links, give Will a big happy birthday. Happy birthday, brother. Miss you tonight. So I'm in control tonight, and I just want to come on and say hi to everybody. It's going to be just a quick little recap of how the first week of training camp went and some of the storylines and some of the things that have stood out to me so far. And just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, tell your friends, tell your family, subscribe, hit the like button, check out our pages. We are still obviously in our infant stages, but we are coming along. We got a lot of big things coming up for you. Don't forget, probably later next week on Friday's show, we're going to be giving away more tickets out there for preseason games and whatnot. So when you're ready to be a part of that, please come on board. We'll have a certain way you can win. We'll be drawing names and some lucky people to go be some practices, training camp, and all that fun. You'll be able to see it. I'm actually hoping Will comes on. He should be coming on sometime during this week. He actually was at the Lions practice yesterday out at Allen Park, and I'm really anxious to hear the stuff that he saw and everything, things that stood out to him. So be on the lookout for Will to come on board at some point, even on his vacation. I know he'll pop in here and give everyone a recap. So where are we at after training week camp one? Well, a lot of exciting things coming up. Will and I know covered a few things on Friday's show. Again, the thing that stands out to me the most was that offense. Our offense is looking so stout right now. I can't even believe it. I know I predicted that the Lions are going to have a number one offense this coming season. I see no reason why they can't. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's playing out of control this week. The catches he's making, him and Goff are still on the same page, doing wonderful work together. Jahmyr Gibbs, he is still my favorite player to watch coming up this season. He's just – from what I understand from some clips I saw and from what Will told me, he's like a joystick. He's just anywhere he wants to go, the way he's catching, the way he's running, he's just going to blast through brick walls as far as I'm concerned. Injury updates, actually, real quick. We still got Jameson Williams. He came back and did some practice, some drills, so it's good to see that he's all good. A lot of the other injuries that I listed from before, Easy, Awasika, Vaitai, they're still nursing injuries that could make them questionable for week one against Kansas City. Gardner Johnson's back. He's running some practice. I'll get into that one if anybody hadn't seen the grilling presser that he gave. I don't remember who it was that he really laid into, but I'll get into that in a minute. The one I'm concerned about, and I know Will and I kind of talked about this earlier today, I'm concerned about it. Penei Sewell got put into concussion protocol. Now, I'm glad that these things are happening now before preseason and before the season starts, but I don't like to play around with concussion stuff. Penei Sewell, we've all discovered it and seen it. He is the staple of our offensive line. I don't mean to make this sound like this way. I'm not happy that he got a concussion or that he's in protocol. But like any other injury, if this were to happen now, I would rather have it happen now as opposed to, say, week one against the Chiefs or at any other pivotal part of the season. So, Penei, I hope you're going to get better soon. Rest up because we really need you. You're an exciting part of this. I think I emphasized it in our last show that, your favorite play for me was when you caught that catch from Goff earlier, midway through the season last year. So, Penei, get better. But I am kind of concerned about that. Concussions, we know, are not something messed around with in this league. So I really hope he recovers quick from that one and nothing else happens to him. Ben Johnson gave a press conference, and one of the things that I know he had emphasized in his last presser was how the offense has slowed down for him. They're really following his lead and the way he wants to run it. And that, to me, that shows me that he's got the pulse of the men. He's got the pulse and the respect of that offense as a whole. So anyone doesn't realize that Ben Johnson, he is, I think, the best offensive coordinator in the league. There's actually been several other coaches that have actually said that about him, and I hope to see the big things coming from him. Our defensive line, making big plays. Buggs was getting his hands on a lot of things, a lot of batted balls, Buggs and the other defensive interior linemen. Secondary is still looking great. They're playing shutdown against every other drill they've had, especially 11-on-11s. I know Martin made a lot of good disruptive plays. I know Aaron Glenn, he's going to start off, come out of this gate running. One thing I will say about this defensive line, it is going to be a top 10 in my opinion, and I believe it will be a defense that every week coming up, I think even going into the preseason, I firmly believe that every single team that's going to be stepping on the field, they're going to be playing against an interior and a secondary that is absolutely going to make them scared. They're going to have to really watch a lot of tape and figure out how to stop this defense. This defense, I think, will be a top 10 defense in this league this year. And as I said before, I believe our offensive line is going to be number one. I have no doubt about that. That's what I think is looking good. I want to touch a little bit on, now, if you haven't seen it before, I know Will Rock did post the reel of it, of C.J. Gardner-Johnson's press conference. He really, really laid into, and again, I can't remember who it was who asked him the questions, but really laid into the journalist who asked him about, you've been missing practice and whatnot. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, in a roundabout way, he basically said, I haven't been missing practice. I've been in practice. I'm there mentally. I'm still working. I'm doing everything I can. In other words, he basically told this reporter, you need to stop emphasizing on me not being on the field and me not practicing and me not being there. He's a leader. And he emphasized that in the reel. So if you haven't seen this reel, check it out on our page. We did put it up there. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, to me, he's bringing another element to this team, to this defense that I have never seen in the Detroit Lions. He is bringing an attitude. He is bringing a swagger. But he's really, really laying into the point and hitting it home that you're not going to do this typical SOL. You're not going to do a typical clickbait type questions with me. I'm there. I'm leading. This defensive line is going to be great. And I'm not going to allow you to do like a clickbait and shed some kind of false narrative on what's really going on here, because that's always a big problem, is that, as a whole, we may see a player who's off on the sidelines not really doing very much, but they don't realize that there is a lot that they're doing. Hendon Hooker, if we all know, Hendon Hooker was out there with the clipboard and the headset on, paying attention to his offense. So I really enjoyed that presser, that short little reel that CJ put out there. So please check it out when you can, because it is extremely, what that tells me, that he is immediately making an impact. He is taking a leadership role of that defense, which is something they need. And I think that's going to be very exciting going forward. All these injuries, like I said before, Mosley should be back. He's on the PUP list. He will be back week 2 for Detroit's home opener against Seattle. I'll really be excited to the element that he brings there. And just in general, this has been one of the best training camps I've seen come out of Detroit. I'd say probably the entire time I've been a Lions fan. I'm very excited to see this. I know Will and I had asked a question to each other of what side of the ball that we're most excited about. I, of course, emphasized that I was excited about both sides, but the question was laid out there. No, you can only pick one. So to recap that whole segment, I'm going to have to still say that the offense is what I'm most excited about coming into this year. The offense is going to light it up. I believe Goff is going to continue right where he laid off. Keep an eye on Jahmyr Gibbs. Keep an eye on Amon-Ra St. Brown again. Jamison Williams comes back. I believe you got to keep an eye on him. Goff's just going to have so many receivers out there to throw the ball to that you can almost say, and I don't mean to give into what I construe as the haters about Jared Goff, but yeah, with all the weapons that Goff is going to have, if he cannot utilize it, then maybe we can start talking about Goff. But until then, we're going to stop with the Goff hate. And just a little factoid, I know NFL has been doing their top 100 players so far coming up and from last year. And as a shout out to a duo of our players, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff, made number 67 and number 66 respectfully. Congratulations to you guys. That's great to see two of our great players on the top 100 going forward. So basically, to recap, it's been a big offensive and defensive back and forth with this team. I know you had one day where the offense lit it up and made that defense question things, and the next day it was turned back around. You had that defense started destroying the offense. This is a good balance that we have here. It's not like, it's not like it's 1 week of just the offense tearing through the defense and the defense not having an answer, or vice versa. I like the fact that the defense just hasn't been a full week of domination and whatnot. I think that's great. There was a name that I saw that came up today, undrafted corner, Starling Thomas V. He's been standing out so far in training camp. A lot of the coaches have been getting his attention, undrafted. So I'm actually going to put him as a possible another dark horse when it comes to our secondary. And it's going to be exciting times right now for us. I'm really looking forward to this season's going to come out. And actually, the problem I have with the fact that we have so much talent in our training camp, I'm a little concerned about when we have to start doing that trimming down to our mandatory 53-man roster. We have so much talent right now in this field, the rookies and, the players that are coming on from last year and free agents who've come on board. Who do you keep? I mean, who do you really keep? I mean, this is where I'd hate to be Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. I mean, they got to make making decisions on who to cut when you're a GM and you're a coach is already hard enough. But when you've got this type of talent in front of you on both sides of the ball, who do you select to make? Who do you select to not make? Who do you waive? Who do you put on the practice squad? I could sit here for a while and give you a list of names of who I think is going to make it and who's not, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to wait till we get to preseason, and I want to wait till my partner in crime, Will Rock, gets back and can join me for this. It's going to be really nerve-wracking when I'll tell you right now, when I have to look at that list after every preseason and see who's gotten cut or who at least is going to make the practice squad. Those are things I'm going to be very concerned about, and almost you can say heartbroken, because I'm really going to be – there'll probably be certain players that I'm going to look at and say, oh, man, you just got cut. You should not have. I know this is a common problem when it comes to any type of cut season when it comes into the preseason of the game, but it is just the way the system works. So real excited. We got a lot of stuff coming up in the pipes here. I know in the next week or two, we're going to be covering way ahead of time. I'll be doing a lot of diving into the Giants and what they're going to be looking like, because that is who we're opening up preseason with, is against the New York Football Giants. Got to give emphasis as to what they got going on, seeing how it's going to impact the way we have to play them, because we know preseason is really, the first quarter of every game. You're going to have the regulars get on the field. And from that point on, it's going to be a battle between the people that are, on the bubble of maybe making the team, and it's going to be all the rookies trying to shine to find their place on our Detroit Lions. I'm really excited about that. So again, I just want to come on. I want to say hi to everybody, give a quick recap of how things are looking for our team. Really exciting times. We got training week 2 coming up. And don't forget, August 11th is when our first game starts. I think I may be wrong about that, actually. But I know it's that second weekend in August is when we go up in our first game against the New York Giants. I'm actually sorry, I'm going to do this right now. It is going to be Friday, August 11th, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock for me out here in the western side of the U.S. Again, I'm out in Arizona, so time changes are everything. But I just want to let anyone who has any comments, Will and I have been saying it, please, if you want to come onto the show, you want to get on here with me and Will Rock and talk the Lions, talk football, have friendly debates, please send us an email at info@rockedonpodcastnetwork.com. Will and I are always on there. We're always checking our emails, looking for your feedback, looking at what you guys think of the show. Please throw me some critique while you're at it, because I'm doing this solo for the first time. But we're looking at a lot of exciting things. I really hope to see people come on board, interact with us more. Get on here. Help us out, man. We want to get this thing growing. I've never been so excited about a season for the Detroit Lions as I've ever been this year. I'm going to say it one more time, and this will be the last time I say it because I've said it a couple times now, but 14-3, that's where I'm putting the Lions this season. I've seen some comments. You can tell people think I'm crazy. People think I'm on board. Maybe I should play it safe and say maybe, 11-6, maybe even 10-7. But that's how strongly I feel about our team this year. I'm saying we're going 14-3. And I hope Will doesn't get mad at me, but I'm going to give a prediction. I'm going to say we got the game against Kansas City. We got it. I'm not going to try to give a score. I'm not going to try to do spreads, any of that stuff like people like to do. But I feel we've got Kansas City. We're going to catch everyone by surprise. We're going to start this season the right way, and we are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And when we do, it's going to be a great feeling, and I hope at that point everybody starts taking us seriously. It's going to be a great season, everyone. Again, give a shout-out to Will Rock when you can. Wish him a big happy birthday. Happy birthday to our genius, Brad Holmes, the man who's architecting this great team we've got being put together. I really hope everyone joins us. We'll be back next Friday. Will Rock will be back in studio with me, covering what's week 2 looking like and what's standing out again to us. again, check out the clips, check out our reels. We got a lot of stuff coming up that we're pumping into the Facebook pages, Twitter, everything, every platform we're on there. I have had some questions come up a few times here and there from people asking if we're going to be on Apple or if we're going to be on Spotify. We're in the process of getting that going. It's a lot of work on both our ends. It's just Will and I that are doing this whole thing right now. So we're getting everything out there as fast as we can for everybody. We appreciate everybody's support. We love the people who come on and comment and who like to, kick back and watch us. We appreciate the support. Rocked On Detroit Lions. This must be, could be Will watching me right now, but Tim 20 Man is the one who got laid into by CJ. So sorry, 20 Man, you're messing with the wrong guy now, buddy. It's a new Detroit Lions. And I want to put everyone's mind at ease because I have seen this a few times now. The injuries that reared their head early on, right off the bat, when CJ went down with his knee, Jameson getting hurt and all that. We have to stop with the same old Lions. We're not going to be the same old Lions anymore. We got to be happy the injuries happened early, not at the pivotal parts of the season. And speaking of that, the one thing I'm worried about here, and I should have said this earlier, I'm sorry, I'm a little back and forth. Teddy Bridgewater is the guy that I think we need to sign as our backup quarterback. Hendon Hooker's not going to play. We're redshirting him, so to speak, in college terms for this year. We're not going to see Hendon Hooker in action. I really don't believe Sudfeld can get the job done. I really don't. So I'm saying we got to sign Teddy Bridgewater because what happens if Goff goes down? What happens if midway through the season and we're, say, 6-1 and we're just doing amazing? What if Goff goes down with a high ankle sprain or, something with his throwing hand and it's going to put him out for possibly 4, 5, 6 games? You got to bring in a guy like Teddy Two Hands because with Teddy Two Hands in there, he's experienced. He's been in the playoffs. He's been in the league a long time. He can come in, and if Goff were to be down for 6 games, you can almost guarantee you Teddy's going to win you 3 or 4 of them, and it keeps the season afloat. Will and I did talk about this. Sudfeld's already in. He knows the system and everything. So, yes, there is an emphasis that if Teddy comes in, he's got to learn Ben Johnson's system. He's got to learn everything all over again. But Teddy's an adaptable, serviceable quarterback. He's a hard worker. He's not going to come in there as some slouch. I think he'll get his nose to the grindstone. He'll be studying that playbook. He'll be studying what this team is doing. I'm fully an advocate for Teddy coming on board, and I really think that by bringing him on board, you're going to continuously show that we are all in this year because we're in a window. We are in a window to win now. Why else I think would they have brought in the secondary they did? They wouldn't have brought in Cam Sutton or Gardner Johnson or Mosley or drafted Brian Branch for that matter if we weren't all in. So I say you bring in Teddy Bridgewater. Anybody who might have an objection to that or a comment, please let me know. I know Will and I have a differing opinion, but, and actually the question just came up if I think the Lions are all in this year. Yes, I do think they're all in this year. I don't want to say they're going to be all in like the Rams. I really hope we don't run into – we're not going to have a salary cap nightmare like the Rams did. The Rams went all in the year that they won when they got Stafford, and after that, we all know their team completely fell apart. They had nothing left to give. We are still with, I want to believe the number is, I believe we have about $24 million in cap space still left over. We have plenty of money. So if we're all in right now, if we're going to try to go for the gusto and win the Super Bowl this year, that's what we got to go for. Get Teddy Bridgewater. Get all those players that matter right now because that's going to be the difference. Especially my emphasis is going to be on Goff because Goff is the man behind center. You got to look out for him. I'm not worried about him getting hurt. On that offensive line, they're going to keep everyone off of him. They're going to keep everyone off of Jahmyr Gibbs. But please, this is going to be a great, fun season. Will and I, it's going to keep getting better. We got more stuff to give out. Like I said, more prizes. Not only do we have the tickets, but we've got the training camp ticket giveaways. We've got Lions gear giveaways. We're going to launch our Villain Squad apparel. We got a lot coming down the pipe. So we're going to keep having fun. Every week, 2 shows a week, Fridays and Sundays. When the regular season starts, we're going to have our pre-shows. We're going to have our post-shows. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, like I said, if you want to get on the show with us, please email us. Like I said, that email is info@rockedonpodcastnetwork.com. And I just got a question here. You said the number 1 offense. Who's going to be number 2 and number 3? If I were to make a prediction who's going to be number 2 and number 3, I'm going to say it's going to be Kansas City and it's going to be Philly. Again, everyone who's watching right now, I have to emphasize, I'm giving a prediction. I'm predicting that the Lions will have the number one offense. I really feel firmly and strongly that they will. But if you take them out of there, it's going to be Kansas City or Philly is going to be in there in the top spots. So, yeah, maybe you could safely say the Lions are going to have a top 3 offense, but I firmly believe they're going to be that number one. They're going to be that force to be reckoned with. But you can never count out Philly and Kansas City, because I'm not going to say it because they were in the Super Bowl last year, but if you know those two teams, you know how explosive their offenses are. So I do put the Lions up there with them. That'll be my prediction this year. And again, one more time, and anyone who agrees with me, say it loud and say it proud, 14-3. And we will finally win our first playoff game this year. And I think, if anything, if we do not make the Super Bowl, I also predict we will be an NFC Championship caliber team. Any way that goes along, everybody, that's it for me tonight. I want to say thank you so much for anyone who watched. Sorry this was kind of a short show, but like I said, my compatriot and I, Will Rock, we will be back together on Friday. One more time, give Will Rock a big happy birthday. And, hey, give Brad Holmes a big happy birthday message too. Everyone who watched, you've been great. Once again, please like, subscribe to our pages, Facebook, YouTube, all of them. We're all over the place on Twitter. We're all over social media right now. We're getting everything built up. It's going to be a really, really exciting time. So I want to say goodnight to everybody. Andy B's out. Everyone have a great night, and we will see you very soon. Take care, everybody.